live on air. Time to start the show.
Let's do it. Let's start the show.
Hello and welcome to Paradise. You are listening to Green Dudes, the only Green Day podcast that matters. You are here with your host. That is me. My name's Connor Mack. And as always, I am here with my best pal in the Green Day verse, the Green Day comrade in arms, my BFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFF partner, not just in love, but in business. Mr. Connor Kelly, how you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm really good, actually.
Oh, awesome.
I was
Wow.
super excited realizing that we were podcasting today, Connor, because as you said, we are partners in business.
Yeah, we
And
are.
look,
Yeah.
I got the shirt. I didn't open it yet. It's right. It's in here.
Wow.
I'm
Are
gonna
we
do a
gonna do
live.
a live
Yeah,
unboxing,
yeah.
unwrapping?
We're gonna do an unboxing
Hell yeah. Those
of the
videos are
shirt.
very popular on YouTube.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's we're always trying to chase that. So I mean, I didn't want to. It's like you could see.
Yeah.
There you
There
go.
we go.
Something like
Yeah.
that, right?
Yeah. It might
So
not even
cool.
be visible because it might
I
just
don't know,
be too
man. I
blurry.
don't know.
I will look into that
You'll
for
know
you.
what to do. You'll know what
I'll
to
know
do.
what
I
to
know.
do.
I trust
Yeah.
you. I trust you. Okay. So I'm gonna open it up. All right.
All right, here we
Here we
go,
go. Let's check it out.
everybody.
Here we go. All right. Okay. Okay.
All right.
Whoa.
Whoa. Whoa.
Whoa.
Look
All
at
right.
that bad
All
boy.
right. Boom.
Whoa. Built by Oakland.
Check that out.
Wow. What a beaut.
Check that out.
What a freaking beaut that
Yeah.
is.
And this is proof that I have wasted my money in order
Yeah.
to be a co-owner.
Holy Toledo.
Yeah, that's right. I'm gonna put it on right now. Hold on a second.
Yeah, please do. Please do. Take it off. Take it off. Oh, you're not going to do it on camera? You're leaving the view to go shirtless? We see a little skin. We saw a little skin of the arm there. There he is. There's the man.
Nice.
Look at that.
It's
How does it feel?
it's good quality. It feels good. It's a nice shirt.
Good. Awesome. Well, it better be,
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, it's the real deal. It's an official investor's shirt. So yeah, I mean, you would hope
The
it's
official investor shirt. Yeah.
you would hope it's legit.
That's awesome. That makes it that makes the whole thing feel more official.
Yeah, doesn't it?
And just imagine, like, Mr. Billy Joe Armstrong he's probably wearing the same shirt right now.
He might be wearing the same shirt right now. We
Probably
just
got it in the mail, and he probably just went shirtless and changed his shirt to just now too. Where are you going? What's wrong? You fucked up your hair?
Oh, I'm here, man.
What,
hair's all fucking crazy.
your hair wasn't perfect enough for the camera?
It wasn't. It has to be like the right level of like.
Yeah.
I have to be somewhere in between like Kramer and Jerry. I feel like it's like.
Yeah, you got to be,
because I can't go full Kramer, but also it's
you
like
gotta
there's
be
always a little bit of
Jamer.
Kramer there. Yeah.
Jamer Crary.
Yeah, Crary.
You got to be Crary.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I understand. My hair is like it's like probably the worst it's ever been right now. It's
No way.
it is. Well, I mean, left to my own devices, it's bad. My girlfriend has been very graciously helping me accentuate the curls and all that, and that's been very nice. And but I just kind of have been letting it run wild. Other than that, and I need to put product in sometimes to keep it held up because otherwise it's just in my eyes all the time, and I can't have that. And I the product that I've been using is just bad quality, and it makes it all look congealed and disgusting, and it's just way too long. It's just way too unwieldy. So I just have to. I'm just gonna chop it all off, I think.
Yeah. Are you actually gonna like go to a barber, or are you gonna try to do it yourself?
No, I'm gonna go somewhere. Well, I'm gonna go to Cost Cutters probably.
Yeah.
So that's like one level above doing it myself.
Right. Yeah. I mean, they say you get what you pay for. Hope it comes out
Exactly.
okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So we'll
Um,
see.
you have been wearing hats a lot more lately. I guess that's to keep the hair from
Yeah, that's
just like
exactly it.
going
Yes.
all over the place, right? So
Yes. Yeah. And it's hot in here, so I'm probably gonna take this off at some point, and
yeah.
you'll see
I
how
don't
crazy it
I
is.
think your hair looks good. It's like I get
Well, thanks,
it's
man.
one thing to see someone's hair and it's one thing to have the hair on your head. I get
Yes.
that. But
Yeah. Very true.
just aesthetically, your hair looks nice. So
Well, thanks, buddy. I
yeah.
appreciate that, and same to you. Same to you.
Oh, hey,
I
thank you.
I think the query balance, you've perfected that, and yeah, I can tell it's you put some thought into it.
Yeah, thank you. I like to, it's a deliberate dishevelment. I like to think of it as.
Yeah, yeah, that's a great way to phrase it.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, what the heck's going on besides this cool ass shirt you got, Connor? What how has your week been?
Yeah, it's been nice. The weather is getting warmer out. It's been nice to sit outside. Um, I've been reading a bit more, which is fun. Connor, you and I went to a show. That was another cool thing that
Yes,
happened.
we did. Yeah, that's very true. We went to see Foxy Shazam in
Hmm.
Brooklyn, New York, just a little while ago.
Yeah. Yep.
It was a
It was a great
fucking
show.
yeah, it was a great show. It was fucking awesome. I had a blast.
Yeah.
Um,
I can't believe I got to witness Eric eat cigarettes again. I wasn't sure that was gonna happen. I kind of thought he was like truly done. Maybe he's been doing that
uh-huh.
for years and years and years. Like, because I
Yeah.
haven't seen them in a while. Uh,
Yeah,
but I really thought that he stopped doing that. So
he did for a time.
yeah,
He stopped for a time, but then he went back to it
yeah,
after they reunited. I think he was done. I don't think he did it at all on the Gonzo tour.
right,
And for listeners unaware, the band Foxy Shazam, they are terrific. They're one of the best live bands you'll ever see. So if you get a chance, please go and check them out because they're fucking incredible. And yeah, the frontman does tend to sometimes eat cigarettes, eat a bunch of lit cigarettes on stage, and it's pretty insane to watch. I remember the first time I saw them with you, Connor, back in probably 2012 or 2013. I think
yeah, yeah,
2012 maybe.
yeah, something like
In
that.
Albany
Yep,
at Valentine's.
that's right. Yep.
Yeah. And just the look on your face when when Eric ate those
Yeah,
cigarettes on stage, it was I'll never forget that.
yeah. I know it blew my mind then, and it blows my mind now. Um, Yeah, they really are an incredible live band, and it's like the last song they played, it like reaches this insane crescendo, and they have like uh the um I don't know, it doesn't sound right to say like circus performers. I'm not really
Oh,
sure how to
pretty
refer to
much.
them, but
Yeah.
you know, they have like these performers with them, and they were like doing this whole like spark show with a fucking buzz saw, and the song is like going nuts, and they had like the dude out from the New Jersey opening band, number 12 looks like they're like
Yeah. Yeah.
like
Yeah.
everyone is like freaking, and it's like incredible. It's incredible
Yeah.
to witness. I was like kind of pissed that at the end of that people are still like, one more song,
Uh
one more.
huh.
And I'm like, are you
Yeah.
fucking stupid? Do you have
Yeah.
any appreciation for what you just fucking saw? Like, Connor, the mandatory encore has to die.
Yeah, no, hey, I don't disagree with you. That was clearly the perfect place to stop. You're not going to follow that up. Um, and yeah, like the whole thing with encores is it is so it's just like expected of performers, and so it's an obligation, and I think scale it back a bit, and then maybe once in a blue moon, there can be like legitimate encores, like special moments where these things happen, kind of like I think the intention was initially, like um just don't do it out of a sense of obligation. And I do think that
Mhm.
the tides are changing a little bit. Like there's a lot of bands these days that are like, all right, well, we're gonna pretend to walk away for a second and come back
Yeah.
on. Like I've heard that a million times at shows,
Yeah.
because it's just like the everyone knows the game, and it's pointless now. So um yeah, I do feel like we're at a point where we're kind of leaving the idea of having an encore behind, and I think that's good, but the audience needs to get the memo.
Yeah. Couldn't agree more. And you've been doing all right. I see you're drinking out of a Doctor Who mug there. Doctor Who's been
Yeah,
pretty crazy lately, hasn't it?
yeah. I'm drinking out of my Christmas Doctor Who mug. 'Tis the
Yeah.
season. Yeah, no, I mean, for those unaware, this is a sci-fi television show that I've been obsessed with for a long time, and also I've been getting in a lot of fights on Twitter with people about it.
Yeah. Are you've been engaging? Is that
I've been
right?
engaging.
Yeah.
I actually I have I've got a separate Twitter account just to get in fights with people about Doctor Who.
Wow. That's how it starts, Connor.
Yeah, it's
That's what the Chapter Jumps account was for me for a long time, and now it's just my primary
yeah.
account. So watch out. That's all I'm saying.
It's just yeah. I just can't help myself. They get all riled up, and then they just have to snap back.
A lot of dumb people have very you know like very I don't know, like just bad opinions. It's hard to think of like
Yeah,
a better word to describe it. It's like they just are not capable of thinking like beyond a fucking, like literally like the surface level. It's and I haven't even watched this season of Doctor Who. I don't know what's happening, but I feel pretty assured in that like it can't be that fucking bad. Like I think people are just
yeah. I mean,
stupid.
there's yeah, I mean it's almost worse than just stupidity. It's like there's just a tendency, and I'm sure it's the same in other corners of fandom and stuff, where there's a tendency to be very reactionary and um kind of like a race to like tweet out the most volatile opinion that will get the most engagement the quickest, and then it just kind of like spirals out of control, and then and it's all just like kids too. It's like 18-year-olds or something, like it's like 16 to 21-year-old kids who are just like very overconfident in their ability to interpret media, and I mean there's certainly always room for criticism, and having like a good natured discussion on like art and stuff, but I mean like Twitter is just not the place to do it. It's just
No.
it is a fucking toxic dump. um we need to leave it all behind at some point.
One day we
And
will. One day we
yeah,
will.
but right now I'm just deeply in the shit, just
Yeah.
fighting on behalf of no one, just
Yeah.
going down swinging like an idiot. Um,
Uh, yeah, check out Who Dudes. I'm not on it, but
oh
that's
yeah, we
another
do. Yes, Yeah, our other friend and I, Josh O'Connor, we have a relatively new show called Hoodoos where we talk about Doctor Who. So if you're interested in that, please check it out. It's been a lot of fun. We're going to be doing our final episode of the season soon.
Very interesting.
And to bring it back to Foxy Shazam quickly, and then also loop it back around to Green Day. There was in the promo of for the new Foxy Shazam record that came out, Animality Opera, which is terrific. Um, Eric kind of singled out how he went to uh, the Saviors tour in this past summer, because I think he was being asked about like nostalgia tours and nostalgia, like, bands that go on tour and play a whole record, previous record, and like he was saying how like that's like not, that doesn't really interest him that much. um but he cited Green Day as like an example of like of a show that did that really really well, and
Hmm.
and kind of played those two albums in full, which is incredible, and also celebrated like the new stuff. So I think he was like, yeah, there's a place for it, and you kind of got to do it the right way. And so that was, Green Day was his example of doing the whole nostalgia thing the right way.
Yeah, that must have put a smile on your face, huh?
Of course it did. Of course it did, man.
And Eric is right, as he is, I'm sure, about a lot of things. For example, mustache stylings.
Mustache stylings. Probably. I mean, if you're gonna try to eat cigarettes, he's the guy to go to ask about like
Definitely.
how to do it the best, safest way.
He has the proper
Um,
technique down, yeah.
yes, he's got it down. uh, I'm sure it's like you wouldn't be able to call it healthy, but yeah, I'm sure like he's found a way that works for him, and that's
There's got to
important.
be a right and a wrong way to do it, because it's
Yes.
like you can't just eat cigarettes for that many years and still be upright. You know what I mean? Like,
Yes.
so
That's very true.
he knows something that we don't know, I think.
Yeah, I think so too.
Either that or he spits them all out. And
Well, that's, I mean, we're watching him while he's doing it, and I've like, I don't fucking know if he spits them out or not. I've never been able to really tell.
yeah, I was thinking about that as I was watching him, because he kind of it did seem like he sort of like turned away, and then he came back up and he's like, "Oh, gross," but I do it
Yeah.
for you. It's my Eric
Yeah.
voice.
Yes.
Um, so I don't know. I think it might even just change. Like, I feel like when he started doing it, I think he was literally like fucking swallowing
Yeah.
and digesting and shitting out cigarettes like a madman lunatic. And
Yeah.
now, he's in his 40s, and I think maybe he chews them up, and you have to get some kind of like, that still can't be good for you. You should not do.
No.
But
There's still
I'm not.
carcinogens and stuff.
Yes, but I'm not sure that he's actually fully swallowing it all. I do think that there's a bit of a magic trick going on as well
I
there.
think so too. Yeah, no, I think he might like spit him out into a towel on the side or
Yeah.
something like that. But anyways, I mean, what he could do is chews them all up, says, "Oh, I gotta go to the bathroom," and just runs to the closest bathroom and spits them out into a toilet. And that's actually that's what I would do if I were him. And he would look at the toilet, or the porcelain throne, as some people refer to it as, look at the brand of the toilet, and he would say, "Oh, Armatage Shanks. Huh, interesting." Because that happens to be a British toilet company, Armatage Shanks.
Is that right?
Um,
Is
that
that a
is
fact?
right, and that happens to be what the song we're going to cover today is named after. Did you know that, Connor?
No. This was definitely going to be one of the questions I was going to ask, and just be like, why is this song called what it is? But now that you said it, I know for a fact you've told me that before, but I
Yeah.
definitely did not remember. So it's cool to be reminded of that going into our discussion here.
Yeah, so I know that was a pretty flawless segue. You're welcome. Uh,
As they often are. Yep.
as they often are. Just to get us started, a tweet from Billy Joe Armstrong from 2011. He says Armatage Shanks was first recorded at the BBC in 1994. We were doing a BBC session, and I went to the bathroom and noticed the toilet brand. So that's the story right there. Um, Connor, we are starting Insomniac today. We're starting a brand new fucking Green Day record. This is
Yes.
big.
Yes, it is.
We spent 20 minutes just talking about bullshit. This is important here. We are past the Dookie era onto the next one, Insomniac, Green Day's fourth record. Um, Came out in 1995, just the year after Dookie. These boys were moving fast. Um, Connor, the opening song off of Insomniac, Armatage Shanks, named after the toilet brand, not spelled the same way exactly. Um, Armatage in the toilet brand is Armatage. So it's spelled Armatage in the song. So there's a bit of a discrepancy there. I don't know if Billy just forgot how to spell it, or just wanted to separate. Have them have some distance from the brand in case the toilet brand sued them or something. I don't know. Because those toilet companies they're pretty litigious.
It's
So
true. That's true. And after
um,
coming out with such a successful album, Dookie, and then you name the first
yeah,
song of your follow up after a toilet brand, you would think that a lot of toilet companies, like, they had Green Day on their radar,
absolutely. They're like these boys are coming after our pocket change. You got to watch
Yeah,
out.
they're kind of stepping on our turf.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, that's a great point. I never thought of that. Um, anyways, Connor, Armitage Shanks, I want you to dive into the recesses of your mind. Yes, good, good, good.
I'm diving
Deeper,
in.
deeper. Uh, uh, back to a time when this was a new song to you when you were just a lad. Um, Historically, Connor, what are your thoughts on Armitage Shanks?
This is a song that rocks, and it knows it rocks. And like, um, and so like this just, has, I don't know, it has that Green Day edge. It has that awesome, melodic kind of sharpness that defines, a lot of what's great about pop punk. It's right there in the name. You got all the strengths of pop with all the strengths of punk, right? That's the idea. You smash those two things together. Um and this song is just like, when I was a kid, it's like, it's aggressive ear candy, and I just
Mm.
really, really liked it for that. And yeah, I don't know, but it's a song that, like, also, I don't know, I felt always sort of like confused by as well when I was a kid. It's like, musically, I liked the song a lot. Um but like, lyrically, content wise, I remember thinking about this song, and this is going to be something recurring as we go through a lot of stuff on Insomniac, actually, and I'll talk more about that as we go through our discussions, and but like, you know, Insomniac when I was younger is an album that I I don't feel like I ever completely, like, clicked with it, and like, I com- I'm not saying that, like, what Billy is singing about is like so mysterious or abstract or high. It's like, it's ultimately, I don't think it's that confusing, but I remember being a kid and feeling like I didn't care about what Billy was singing about the same way that I did on, even like from songs like Kerplunk and songs like Off of Dookie, where it's like it felt like I had songs that I connected to. I always connected to No One Knows. I always connected to Pulling Teeth, like, beyond just liking the music. And Armatage Shanks is a song that I always liked for how it sounded, but when I was a kid, I didn't really care about that much else that I had going for it. That's how I felt about it when I was younger.
Yeah, that's a great point. I feel like I mean, Insomniac is definitely like a more mature uh like lyrically, conceptually it's like a bit more mature and more nihilistic. And I think when we first got into the band, like that just wasn't, I don't know, we couldn't really access that headspace for because we were bright-eyed, bushy-tailed youngsters.
Yeah. Yep.
um the world had not worn us down sufficiently yet. um and so I think that's absolutely true. Like I think the first time I actually I don't remember the first time I listened to Insomniac. I don't even really remember which order I got the record in. Like, it'll be interesting if I can access that memory at some point. But
Deeper,
deeper.
deeper.
Yeah. um, but like I it did not. I don't think it clicked for me the same way as like Kerplunk did or Dookie early on. Insomniac is one that I've definitely grown into. And this song, obviously, the same case. It's just like a little less approachable, And I think that was the intention behind the record. Um, and as I've grown up, like to lead into your thoughts on Armitage Shanks now as an adult. For me, like I've grown into it, and the world has now worn me down to a just unrecognizable shell of the bright-eyed, bushy-tailed child I once was. Totally ground me to a pulp. And now, Connor, I get Insomniac, and
Yeah.
this song I really feel deep in my rotted bones. What how has this song grown with you? How do you feel about Armitage Shanks these days as a 58-year-old man?
Um, yeah, I do like it more, and I agree that like some of the world weariness that often comes with age, uh, has maybe made me consider these songs in a different light. Um, Not that it's like even about that, but like yeah, like certainly our perspective is very different now than when it was when we were first listening to Insomniac. And I do think that Insomniac is probably the first Green Day record that we're discussing where that's like really important, because I agree. It's like all those 39 Smooth, the Dookie. Um, Even though like we talked about those albums as also being important for like feeling like it was a benchmark, like something for us to reach toward, like as we imagined what it would be like to grow older and have to deal with some of the problems or the struggles that Billy was singing about. I feel like Insomniac like did not feel graspable in that way. It didn't feel like it was like just beyond our reach. It felt like I think like very almost like kind of intangible, and I do think that has to do with like that like bizarre perspective shift that comes from like all your experiences of age, because it's like we could connect to Billy singing about girls and that his friends are switching up on him, and the strains of getting older. But like the hardship and the pain and the feelings that Billy's working through on an album like Insomniac, uh, I think it was more difficult for us to imagine in a way that did not make this feel as immediate. And even so, it's like Insomniac is still a Green Day album that I've always liked, but I think there's a lot more for me to like rediscover on an album like Insomniac versus Dookie, versus even like an album like Nimrod. Like Insomniac has like kind of a strange place in their discography, and from when we listen to it, and I think even like a song like Armatage Shanks, like straight off the bat, it does embody some of that feeling for me. In that, like, again, like I always liked it, and I always got into it, and yet it always felt like there was a kind of distance to it as well, like something
Yeah,
something that we were a little too young, I think, to get, or to even imagine getting, in a way.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it is funny because back in the day, like even when even when we were young and we were listening to 39 Smooth and Kerplunk and Dookie, like you said, like pining after girls, that was kind of something that you know we we could conceptually like comprehend, and like we could, I've talked a lot about how like it like really uh spurred my imagination to like flourish and come up with all these concepts and ideas of my future and all these future predicaments I could be in as a teenager or an adult with relationships and stuff like that. And um I don't think I just don't think it was the same uh with the songs on Insomniac. Like it was like I never really thought to myself like, oh, um this is when I'll be in a deep dark depression for
Yeah, yeah, right.
for 2 years or something like that. Like that just was not on my radar as a thing that I would have to contend with. And so yeah, it's interesting. And then at the same time, like we're I'm talking about how like, oh, this is kind of a more mature record than Dookie, and in a way it definitely is, but also you got to kind of acknowledge that the band themselves at this point, they're still very young. Like they're still extremely young, and this is something that a young person can really, it's so easy to fall down this rabbit hole of nihilism and despair, and um that's not necessarily like maturity either. That is like uh not seeing the forest for the trees, and not really having a balanced worldview. And so I think this is kind of what the and I mean it stays relatable to this day, just because like materially the world has gotten so much worse that like it's much easier, and it feels more logical to be able to view the world in darker shades now, I guess. But but still, this is still very much like a young man's like like dramatized interpretation of how terrible the world is, and stuff like that.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that, because it's like, now being older, men of a certain age here, it's like, I think it's also easy to look back on Insomniac and be like, well, uh, you could just easily kind of write it off at the same time as just being like teen angst, and yeah, kind of like lashing out against the world. Like, those things are not novel, or like high-minded callings or whatever. But I do think that the way that Insomniac handles it is, elevates it more than just um, uh, more than just like kind of the stereotypical like anger and rejection of society
Yeah.
that is easy to kind of attribute to just going through a phase as you're like discovering yourself through your adolescence. I do think that Insomniac is doing more than that, but it's like, yes, it's like both those things are always sort of uh vying for supremacy on this album. It's a little bit beyond that, and it's a little bit below that, I think, at the
Yeah, I
same
think
time.
absolutely. That's right. Yeah, and obviously this is a conversation we will continue to have going through this record because I mean this song really just it really informs you of what you are about to experience, and it introduces you to uh, the a post Dookie universe here.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah, we are out of slacker devil may care, carefree zone. Not that Dookie is entirely carefree either, but this is kind of like like a lazy slacker turning into like a shitbag, like nihilist because they just don't get off the couch and and they're rotting and they're watching the world fall to pieces and they're just letting it all pass them by and growing bitter because of it.
Yeah, totally.
Um,
Comparing this song to Burnout is really fascinating because it does kind of feel like there's a clear roadmap between the two, and like in exactly what you're saying. I mean, like thematically, like you could see how you would get from Burnout
yeah.
to Armatage Shanks. Um, Give me just 1 second.
All right, sure.
Hello.
Taking a little break, baby.
No, I thought it was being delivered. I'm sorry. Yeah, can you hear me?
I think he's talking to his pizza
Yeah,
delivery guy.
yes. Okay, yeah, but it's being delivered, isn't it? Like we're not picking it up, I thought. That's okay. No problem. Thank you. Bye. They said that my order was ready to pick up, and I'm like, well, I'm not. Well, you heard. You heard what was
Yeah,
happening
you're
there.
like,
Sorry.
I ain't picking that shit up. You got to come
Yeah.
here. What
Yeah.
was it? What was it? It was a pizza.
No, I'm getting Thai food. That's
Oh,
what I'm getting.
yum.
Yeah. So, yes, yep, all good. You know what? You can cut that out too. We
You
don't
should
need to
have
have.
asked what she thought of Armitage Shanks.
Yeah, Armatage Shanks.
Yeah, I'm
You could
sure
cut
that
this
would have
all out.
been.
By the way, you could cut
I'm
this all
sure
out.
that would have. Your address, I will work on to
Yeah.
cut out,
Okay.
but that I think the rest is fine. Anyways, uh, Connor, let's we can dive into the nitty gritty here.
Right. We are going to talk about
So
Armitage Shanks.
we have to fucking start with the drums,
Yeah.
of course.
Of course we do.
Connor, Trey starts Dookie as well, um, with a very quick drum roll into the song. But this is what a fucking way to start a record. The drums just fucking rain all hell down on you. It is like you can feel it in your bones. The drums they fucking they sound so good,
Yes.
and uh I don't know. I just think this is probably one of the most underrated Green Day openers for me. I think. Um, just I mean, in big part because of the drums. Connor, what do you think of Trey's performance here in Armitage Shanks?
I agree that Armitage Shanks is an underrated opener. And I think I'm guilty of underrating it as well. Like that was one of my thoughts coming back to this song, is just being like, man, what an album opener. I don't feel like I've given it its due, to be honest. Yeah, the drums are excellent. Just like like the way it starts, it's very deep and powerful. It's almost like war drums. It sounds. It's
Yeah, yeah,
like Howard Shore making the Lord of the Rings soundtrack for like the drums of Moria or fucking whatever. Like this is what he had in mind. He was probably listening to Insomniac, to be honest. He was like, how do I get this fucking drum sound? Um, and you know what I was thinking? I have never. This might be another thing that you're going to be like, yeah, everyone knows this. Everyone thinks that, man. Haven't you seen it? But I just from the fanciful nature of my own head, Connor. You know what I was thinking is that whole drum intro, outro that Trey's doing. It sounds like American Idiot.
oh yeah, yeah,
Like after Billy's like, "For that's enough to argue,"
absolutely.
Um, and I don't know, I never really thought about that before, but that kind of felt like a moment. I'm talking about American Idiot, the song, of course.
Yeah,
That felt like a moment where I was like, I don't know. I think there's some connective tissue there that that I haven't really considered. And it's always funny because people are always like, American Idiot, what a reinvention. But like so much of it comes, from the fucking soil of all their experience before. I'm not going to start talking about American Idiot, but it's like, it's all there is what I'm saying. It's all there.
yeah. I mean, he perfected the science of the idiot.
Yes. Yep. Wow.
You know,
That's right. Of the American Idiot. They just don't say
of
it.
the American idiot. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, no. Trey's drums are really awesome. I love his playing across every part. This is one of those songs where it's like nothing he's doing is like it's not about like the complexity, but it's like it's the flow from one part to the next. It's the way that you go from the intro to the verse to the chorus. It's like boom, boom, boom. Like the way it's all melded together. Just feels so effortless and satisfying. And yeah, just a lot of great power behind Trey's performance here.
Definitely. And you're right. You're totally right about how it does feel almost like war drums. Yeah, very powerful. Uh, Again, I'm gonna say that just it feels to me like the production it's a step up. With the drums. Dookie sounds amazing, obviously, but this is just like, oh man, it feels so fucking good. It is exceptional.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so I mean, it's for sure a level up with the drums. Um, Next up, I think we'll talk about Connor. You know what? What would you prefer, the bass or the guitar?
We should talk about the bass next.
Let's dive into the bass. I mean, a lot of this is going to sound like a repeat of what I said about the drums, but like I just really feel like I think Rob Cavallo he's just he knows exactly how to produce the bass and the drums now for Green Day. He perfected that with Dookie and refined it here on Insomniac. Because the bass is, I mean, this album is, I mean, actually for both bass and drums, uh, this is in consideration for the best Green Day record as far as bass and drums go. Um, and right from the start, Connor, I feel like you're like, wow, this is tasty as fuck.
Yes.
Uh, what do you think about the bass on this track?
Well, I'm definitely gonna. I'm right there with you on like the production. Um, really like I don't know, pushing it forward because um You know what I noticed about Mike's bass playing on this song here, Armatage Shanks? It's like a lot of times I'll say like, oh, you can only hear Mike kind of come out in these pockets, in these moments, and then like as the guitar is, it just like dominates and smothers whatever Mike's like. There's plenty of songs where we talked about where unfortunately, Mike's playing just gets kind of overruled and washed out of it, and like that's just the nature of being a bass player, man. Like that's just kind of how it is, and just because you can't like actively hear it all the time doesn't mean it's not like filling out that lower register. It still adds what it adds.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's hard to have like an active listen to the bass. And here on this first song, one of the things that really stuck out to me when I was listening for the bass is you can always hear it. And there are times where it's like, I'm not sure what Mike's playing, but what I really love about the production is it's not about like the clarity and like imagining like the specific notes that Mike's playing. It's that you can hear always the low end that Mike is occupying, and the way that like kind of builds that bedrock that everything else is sort of sitting on top of. You know, you can always hear like that rich buzz, uh that thickness, coming from Mike's playing. And there's a ton of spots on the song where it's very very easy to tell what Mike's playing. Like in the verses, this is like kind of one of those Mike's playing for the song, quote unquote, but it sounds great because he's pretty much just uh, you know pretty much just like shadowing and going along with the guitar. Um, but like I don't know, it just sounds so. It's like they complement each other so well. Um, I think also sometimes it's easy to be like, oh well, you should change things up. But I think another thing that we always go back to when we're talking about Green Day is like the power of simplicity, and you know everyone in Green Day has so many moments where they've proven themselves to know like when to really let loose and when to not even hold back, but like when playing something more simple or more straightforward is actually what is like more effective for the song. Like you can fucking dilute and overcomplicate and mess up like your own song just by trying to uh do something more complex. And it feels like they have such a good mind of like knowing when and where to like push or pull back. And so anyways, bringing it all back to Mike's bass here, uh really really excellent. um I really like the way that it you can always hear it. And Mike does have a cool little standout moment at the end of the bridge where it kind of connects back into the last verse. So it's like I feel like you get he has his one little moment to put his signature on it, and then the rest he's just like in the fucking pocket, killing it the whole song.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I think you're right. It's a step up in the regard where you can, you know, more so than on Dookie, you can really follow the bass like the entire way through, and I think that's largely true for the entire record. And it does kind of like go to show that Mike can really do cool things even in the background, holding down the fort. Yeah, I mean, and this is just the beginning of the bass journey on this record. So that's one thing I'm very excited to. There's so many great bass moments on this record. This is just the beginning. But yeah, it sounds excellent. Great performance. Great little moments of genius. Connor, let's move on to the guitar.
Mm-hmm.
This one, it's talking about the intro and the structure. We have the drums coming first, then kind of the guitar and bass, um, and you know very much we have that classic Green Day distortion here, but it feels like it does feel a bit darker than the guitar on Dookie, um, which I mean obviously works thematically. Connor, what are your thoughts on the guitar here?
I love it. I talked about this when we were talking about JAR before, but I feel like, yeah, Insomniac is like the realization of what they were kind of playing around with on the JAR single, and it's like,
Yeah,
God, I don't know. I think the guitar tone is like excellence. It does like have all that I don't know that I don't know. The distortion is great. It really is, but it's like, man, I love that like shade that I don't know. There's like there is a bit of a darkness to it. I don't think I could
yeah,
say it any other way than how you put it, and it's hard to identify how or why that is. And I don't know. It's like, is it a feedback loop? Because I know, you know, the themes of the album. You look even at the album art, and it's like it kind of it's like that's percolating in your mind, but it's like there is like some kind of a direction, some kind of a tweak that they do to it that gives it that note. It's hard to identify what that is, especially because we are no producers ourselves, you know. So this is like a bit out of our purview,
yeah.
but something is done to change it, and I'm going to go on record as to say I think the guitar sounds better on Insomniac than on Dookie. I prefer it. I just think it's fucking great.
Yeah, Connor, I agree with you. I don't think that this is a widely held opinion. I think to a lot of people out there, the guitar tone on Dookie is like the end all be all for Green Day guitar. But yeah, this and I mean, I do think it's a mixture of things. Like obviously, you know, you're right. You see the album cover. I mean, we've lived with this album for so long and we've absorbed the lyrics and the themes and everything. So like we know this is a darker shade of Dookie. You know, like
Yeah.
when you're
Gross.
crapping out your first major label record, it's you know it's like a light brown maybe. This is a darker Dookie.
Right. Yeah. That
This
that
is
that
like
is what it is. You're making a joke, but
yes,
that is what it is. It's
it is
darker
what it
Dookie.
is.
It is.
It's like you're crapping at you're crapping it out and you're like I'm a little concerned with the color of this one. This is a
Yeah.
little bit too black for me. I
Yeah.
don't think this is right. But anyways, uh, so I think it's a mixture of that and then also uh like a lot of these songs. And again, I'm not a music genius. Yes, I play music. And Connor, yes, we have produced records, but we've never claimed to do that well. So don't come at us saying oh, you should know this. But it sounds like a lot of these songs are like in a minor key or
Yes.
something like you know. It's like so I think that plays a part in like making it sound darker. But I also do think that the I think Mr. Cavallo change. You know, he like turned these knobs
Yeah.
slightly.
There are knobs that you have to turn, by the way, when you're a producer.
There, yes, there are. That's actually a big part of the job.
Yes, you're a knob turner, you know, for sure.
You got to know how to turn those knobs effectively, sometimes subtly. And I think Mr. Cavallo he turned the knobs very well on this record.
Yeah.
Uh, just like a little bit closer to the insane setting on the amp, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. No, he knows what he's doing.
He does.
Um but so the guitar itself, I like Billy's playing, it's really snappy, it's really simple, it has a really great build up in the beginning. Um you know, this I don't this is another thing. Like sometimes it's hard to discuss these things because it feels like if you break it down, you kind of come up against the problem of discussing like the fundamental nature of like what it is you're trying to get at the heart at, you know,
Yeah.
or you know, the heart of, I guess. Um Sometimes we have this turn of phrase where it's like, man, this is like a classic Billy riff. And then like you interrogate that. You're like, what does that mean? What does it mean to make a classic Billy riff? Um I think it really comes down to having like I don't know, like there's got to be something about it that is simple, and there's got to be something about it that fucking rips. And
Yeah.
this is a riff that to me just sounds like a classic Billy riff. There's not a lot to it. I listen to him play. This is like, I'm like, dude, I should learn how to fucking play Armatage Shanks on the guitar because I could learn it in 5 fucking minutes. Like, you
Yeah.
listen to this song and you're like, you already kind of know how to play it just by listening to it. But
Yeah.
that's like the fucking magic. It's like, did you make this song? Did you put that shit together? No. Billy fucking Joe did. Billy Joe motherfucking Armstrong did that shit. And like, that's something that always inspires me about Green Day is just what they're able to accomplish with these things that are so often overlooked. Hey, that's another thematic kind of key going around with Green Day. But the guitar is awesome. One thing that I wanted to mention is at the end of the at the end of the bridge, he puts on like just a little bit more like there's just a little bit of this kind of emphasis before it goes back into the drums,
Mm.
and then it kicks back into the and it always like tricks me into thinking that there was like a solo that I missed.
Yeah.
Like it sounds like it's the end of a guitar solo, but he's not doing that, and
Uh,
it also made me think about um there was I think there was a song off of Dookie we were discussing where we were saying like sometimes Billy plays power chords like he's playing a solo, like he's
yes.
able to like slip into that or play them in such a way that's like, beyond like beyond regular,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
power chord playing. Like and I feel like you get a little bit of like a moment like that at the end of that bridge, going back into that verse just before the drums take over. He has this like little slide, it's like power chord shredding just a little bit, even though he's really just playing the same shit he was playing the whole song. And it's just the way that he's playing it. I think about that every time um, I listen to the song.
Yeah. It's it's funny because a big part of this record, more so than Dookie, is like this is kind of like anti-solo, like very. This album is very much like no solos allowed. Um, and but it's like that's not it's not missing. Like those are not missing from the song structure. Even and the songs are played hard enough and like with enough like little flourishes here and there that it's funny because yeah, it can almost trick you into thinking that like there is more than meets the eye, like that there is more going on. um I mean, on other songs, the bass does that. On other songs, the drums do that, where it's like in place of a solo, it's like they're just like playing harder. It feels like in
Yeah.
a lot of the cases, and like yeah, doing little tricks like that, and it's really impressive. Like the simplicity is the point, and you're right. It's like these riffs um, are like so simple that like to most songwriters it wouldn't even occur to them that this could be the bones of a song. But to Billy it just like it feels so effortless and natural. Yeah. The guitar it's terrific. Moving on kind of to the vocals,
Mm-hmm.
we start the album vocally with what I would call a Billyism.
Yes. 100%.
That leads us into the oncoming slaughter. How do you feel, Connor, about Billy's performance here, especially in comparison to his performances on Dookie?
Yeah, it's different. It is
It
really
is.
different.
It is.
And and it made like I was saying this as we were discussing JAR, where I'm like, I think that JAR really is the stepping stone to get you to Insomnia. And it's like, and I think about that just in the way that he's singing even the very first word. Like the way that Billy sings Stranded, he's like stranded, like
Yeah.
there's there's this undulation to it, um there's these extensions, and yeah, it is very different to what we heard on Dookie. What's funny is I think that for as overlooked as Insomniac is, um I think it really is the album and the style that people have in mind a lot of times when they think about 90s Green Day. And it
Mm.
makes me think of like uh we've watched that like 1 minute fucking like parody YouTube video where it's like old Green Day versus new Green Day, and like the guy made like a fake song where it's like you know I'll drive my car off the fucking bridge with a gun in my hand in case I don't die, and it's like, point to that song on Dookie. You can't. The thing that they're making fun of isn't Dookie, the album that you
Mm.
probably would first think is the definition of 90s Green Day. But I think when
Yeah.
people think of 90s Green Day, they're really, without realizing it, I think they're really thinking about Insomniac. And it's not just what Billy's singing about, it's the way that he sings it. And his performance on Armatage Shanks is like immediately like 90s fucking Green Day, like right out the gate.
Yeah, Connor, that's spot on. That's really interesting because I think it goes to show like how memory or like cultural memories kind of like are conflated and congeal and are get all mixed up. It's especially with like I feel like emo, like the rise of emo in the 2000s when Green Day kind of came back with American Idiot did a lot to kind of color people's nostalgia for the 90s too. It's like a weird thing where like eventually culture kind of gets all remixed uh in people's minds. Because you're absolutely right. This is like where people draw that parody from. Yeah, as far as Billy's vocals go here, like we talked about the snottiness on the last record, and there's a lot of that still here, but there is an edge to his vocals that has been sharpened, and yeah, like just a bitterness and um, not it's I'm struggling to find a word different than nihilism, but but it's like it's not a carelessness, but kind of I don't know. It feels like on Dookie the performance is slackerish, but like very regimented, and it feels like a lot of effort was put into the vocals to convey that, not in a try hard way, but just to convey that feeling. And here it feels like an effortlessness,
Yeah.
but an effortlessness, but not like carefree, but just like this is just how I am now. Like I've
Yeah. I
it
do think that it's like this, it's way more like fast and loose. And it is funny because
yeah.
you would think that might be contradicted. It's like, how do you have an edge and you're loose edge?
Yeah,
What's
I
that?
know. I know. Yeah, a loose
Um,
edge.
but I do feel like that's the line that Billy's straddling. It's like, when I think about his delivery here, the way that I, I don't know, and it's even like simple. even so, like even the chorus, you know, I must insist on being a pet. It's like the way that these things, I must insist on being, you know, it's like he just, uh, yeah, I don't know. It is funny. It feels like I'm splitting the atom. It's like, because in my mind, to my ears, it's like Billy's singing on Armatage Shanks is nowhere on Dookie. Find me that
Uh-huh.
fucking song on Dookie.
Yeah.
Where is he singing like that on Dookie? And yet it's like, what is the difference at the same time? What is it that is actually that you can actually point to and identify
Yeah.
that he is doing differently? And yet it feels like a world of distance between the two. It's like, this is, you know, this is
I
not
mean,
Welcome to Paradise. You know, it's
this
like,
is not Welcome to Paradise. This is a man who's seen things and experienced things that were incomprehensible to him 2 years ago when he was recording Dookie. Like, this is a changed person after you know Green Day's rise to fame. I think, and of course we're going to talk about it, but the backlash to Dookie and the rejection from Green Day's community, I think, did a lot to inform um, the headspace on this record. And that definitely you can tell by the performances. Um, Anything else, kind of, before we move on to the lyrics?
um, no, I mean, no, I guess not. I just, you know, I hope it's clear too. It's like, man, I really love Billy's singing here. Um,
Yeah, it's exceptional. Uh,
Talking about it, it feels like I'm stumbling around a little bit. You know, I think it's, and it's tough. It's like, this is our first song that we're really trying to break down here off of a new album, and like, I don't think I was quite prepared to like articulate what these differences are, you know, this jump from Dookie to Insomniac, because again, like, it to me, it feels like they're obvious, but I think they come from like this multitude of subtleties and like tiny little nuances and little tweaks on the knob, you know, that add up, that build into something that is very much its own thing, that is very much having a separate identity from Dookie. But I'm gonna have to really think about and work on not just how to discuss it, but it's like, what is that thing? What is
yeah,
that's
I
really a
know.
question that's swirling around in my mind as we're starting off
Yeah,
the discussion here. It's like, what are those tiny little things? I hope to get to the bottom of that a little bit more as we go
yeah.
on.
No, me too. It's there's this mysterious quality, this rogue element we have to isolate. Hopefully, we can get there. Um, all right, Connor, you want to start us off with a song?
Yes, I do. It goes a little something like this. Just tell me the words I might
I
have
might have
known.
known
The
the
words I
words
might
I
have
might have known,
known. The words
the
I
words
might
I
have
might have
known.
known. All right. Diving into these lyrics, Connor, were there any that surprised you? Any previously unknown lyrics that you have been exposed to today?
Yes. Yeah, there's a couple. Um, I knew this song pretty good, but there's some important things I didn't know. The first one I really have beef with. We always look at the lyrics on Genius,
Yes.
and it's Genius labels the intro as with like an
Yeah.
F. And every time I hear this song, I'm telling you, it's an S,
It
obviously.
absolutely it is.
How the fuck do you label that like what? He's about to say fuck? No, he's not.
No.
That's not what that is. He goes so like that's what it is. He's not going fuh. Whatever. Um
Yeah, that's confusing. I don't know.
it's not a lyric, but it's like, how do you, I don't know. How do you, I disagree. Um so really what I didn't know in the second verse, the second half of the second verse, here's what I did not know. No meaning and no healing, self-loathing freak and introverted deviance. Um I always just, and the thing, I could always hear no. Sometimes I thought he was saying no wheeling and no dealing. That's,
Mm.
but that's one of those, like, I always knew it was wrong, but that's
Yeah.
what my mind filled in. Um, and then in the bridge, I was never really sure if he was saying anything or if it was just more Billyisms. And because in my head, the bridge, I always like, hey, like, I didn't, I was like, is he saying something? I don't know. Genius says, say whatever, shoot. I got nothing on that one. So
Yeah. I mean, that's another with the bridge. I don't know if that's right. It doesn't feel right to me, but maybe it is. We got to check these lyric booklets if we can get our hands on them.
yeah, I know. And
Um,
Insomniac, I know I mentioned this. I know that I have Insomniac on CD, but it's like I don't know if I can find that, you know.
yeah.
I looked for it last time I was at my house. Anyways, that's what I didn't know. Everything else I knew.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of in a similar position here where I for the verse, yeah, for verse 2, um I've always heard no meaning and no ending. Um and then self-loathing freak was something that I wasn't sure about either. But yeah, the rest I was all good with. Yeah, and I mean, just there's some questionable things here with this transcription. So yeah, I'd like to do some more research. But yeah, Connor, any lyrics here you want to single out and talk about? Because there's a, I mean, this is a great song lyrically.
It is. Yeah, I mean that first line, stranded, lost inside myself, uh, um, is just like an excellence. It does get, it carries some of the same energy as Burnout. Like when we were talking about Burnout, one of the things I love most about it is its opening line, you know, is so powerful. It is literally declarative, right? I declare I don't care
Yeah,
no more. And so, like, I feel like here, like, Billy's able to kind of, this feels like pulling the same trick in a different way to me. And I almost feel like this is a line that makes me think, like, did Billy realize just how fucking incredible he started off Dookie? And it's like, how do you one up Burnout? And it's like, you don't, but you, you know, it's like, you can't, but also it's like, you can't just throw out all of Burnout and be like, oh, we're going to do something totally different because Burnout is as excellent as it is. You know what I'm trying to say? And
yeah,
so I
yeah,
think that, I feel like with this first line, uh, like like on Burnout, there's like this power in announcing your ambivalence. You know, there's like a pride in being the Burnout. It's like you're saying with your full chest, like, I don't give a fuck. And here, you know, Billy's delivering this line with a lot of emphasis and a lot of force, but it feels like it's a bit of a subversion because it's kind of like the exact opposite sort of declarative. It's like, now I don't know anything. Now there's nothing, and I'm completely like, I'm adrift in a sea of fucking nothing. You know, it's like,
yeah,
and that is like the opening sentiment to the record, and I think it's a really awesome place to start. I love this opening line.
yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, no, it really sets us up for disaster in a in a really effective way. I don't know, these you know, self-loathing is really the name of the game here, and it's just it's something that when I'm in a certain headspace, it's very relatable and very cathartic to uh listen to and to sing along to. You know, I must insist on being a pessimist. I'm a loner in a catastrophic mind is just something that I have. It's a place I've been for so many times over the years. I mean, and it's like it's such a dark place. But when you look at it in the context of Green Day's entire history, there's almost like a hopefulness there now, where it's like, well, this just shows like the spectrum of human emotions and feelings and evolution that people can go through throughout their lives. Like, you're a loner in a catastrophic mind now, but uh that's subject to change. Everything is change.
Mhm.
So I think, I mean, to listen to this in 95 with nothing else out there, I think would maybe be a different experience, honestly. um but no, it remains, I don't know, it's fantastic. I think
Yeah,
it really sets the tone for the record perfectly.
that's definitely true. The only one other line I want to point out, and it's funny because it's sort of the opposite idea though. And I agree with you though about like how an album like Insomniac and like where they are now and all the different places they've been, it definitely does showcase change 100%. But one thing that like Billy kind of always comes back to too is this idea that he's just like a fucking moron.
Yeah.
And I love the line, I perfect the science of the idiot. So many times throughout Green Day's discography, Billy refers to himself literally as an idiot or like,
Hmm.
too dumb to die. Even off of Saviors, look, ma, no brains. It's like, um, it's like all over the place. This, and it's funny because like I don't think it's self-loathing when he does it though. It's almost like I don't know. I don't know. I do kind of think that Billy thinks he's stupid, but I don't think he feels bad about it. I think he thinks it's like his superpower sometimes. Like if he wasn't an idiot, then he, you know, would not be in the position that he's in, would not have made the art that he's made and the decisions that he's done to like get him to where he is. It's like he wouldn't have fucking dropped out of school. It's like, and I think that even though there is so much self-loathing on an album like Insomniac, and I think that that is the intent here on this specific song, elsewhere throughout Green Day's discography, Billy sings about being an idiot all the time. And I think that, like, depending on the song and depending on where it is in the discography, that means like very different things. But Billy is always kind of
Yes.
coming back to this idea of like, man, I am one fucking stupid guy, aren't I? And it's just, I really love the way that he finds the way to deliver that sentiment here on Armatage Shanks. It's such a good song or such a good lyric.
Yeah, definitely. It's I mean, there's something, I mean, it can be not taking yourself so seriously, and then also in a song like this, it can be, yeah, a bit more being hard on yourself. And for us stupids out there, it's just it's nice to get some representation in rock and
That's
roll.
right. That's right.
Um, Connor, ready to move on to the next segment?
Yes, I am.
All
Let's
right,
do it, you fucking
help
idiot.
help me out with this song, you freaking idiot.
Yeah, there we go. There we go.
A one, a two, a one, two, three, four. Warning, live without
Have
warning.
we heard this song? Have we heard this song?
Connor, have we heard Armitage Shanks ever live in concert?
Connor, I really am gonna look like a freaking idiot if I get this one wrong, but I think maybe you've heard it live and I haven't. That's what I think. Um, I, at the very least, do not think I have heard the song live.
That's your final answer.
That's my final answer.
Eh, you're wrong, my
Fucking
friend.
god! Oh!
You are wrong.
Wow,
we
I'm telling you, I'm a fucking idiot, man. I'm so fucking stupid. Why don't I
you're
know this shit?
so
Oh my
fucking
god.
dumb.
Wow.
Um, we have both heard this song live at Webster Hall, New York, on October 8th, 2016.
Damn, that was at Webster. God damn, man.
Yes, I heard it also the day before at Rough Trade Records.
You did. Okay.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
but that's, I mean, I don't know. This is that was a crazy show. So it's, I mean, hard to keep all of that in your head.
Yeah, I mean, my one enduring memory still is one of my lives, which we talked about
Yeah,
when we went through Kerplunk. So, but that must have been on the. I think they were kind of on like a tear that night. It
they
was like
were.
boom, 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 like one after the
Yes,
other.
there
Like
was like
so,
a stretch of like 10 really crazy deep cuts that they
yeah.
played at that
So I
show.
don't. Maybe I should have had a bit more faith. But been like, you know what, Armatage Shanks was probably part. I don't know, but I didn't think so. What are you gonna do?
Oh man. Oh wow. I'm looking at the set list. I'm like, oh shit. Wow. Okay. Anyways, um, that, I mean, this song is, it's, what a crazy thing to have heard live. That just sounds unbelievable. Just sounds unbelievable. It sounds
Yeah,
like that's not right at all. All right, Connor. Let's hear it from the anti-social media.
we are.
All right, so we got some interesting ones here today from a little place called YouTube on the internet. We got maybe one Reddit comment, but all right, this one's kind of fucked up, Connor. This guy's name is Connor Cribley 7795. He spells his name just like us.
Uh huh.
Uh,
It's important to
and
know.
after this comment, I think we're gonna have to maybe, I don't know, suspend him from the Council of
Yeah.
Connors or
Right,
something.
we're gonna have to rethink the whole spell the Connor theory and the way in which they spell their name.
Yes,
Right,
correct,
this is not going
correct.
to be a
Yeah.
good one. Okay.
Connor, the false Connor says, "I hate to say it, but Billy's music really is at its best when he's hopelessly depressed."
Hmm.
It's just a fucked up thing to say. I don't know. Like, I just don't. It just rubs me the wrong way.
Yeah, it's not as bad as I was prepared for it to be. Way worse, to be honest.
Sure. Yeah.
So I'm not going to revoke this guy's Connorhood just yet. But I agree. It's like I know that's a popular sentiment where it's like, oh man, when things suck or when things are really bad, like that's when you make the best art. And you know, I definitely agree with you, Connor, that um like that is not like a universal truth. It's like if your life fucking sucks, you are not going to become a better artist for it. Um but I as someone who likes oftentimes more melancholy Green Day songs, I do think that when Billy is drawing from those experiences, it can result in something very powerful. Immediately, my mind is brought back to something like Brutal Love.
Mm,
Um, the fact that that song stands as tall as it does, like just a incredible, incredible work of art, that I think sort of undoubtedly comes from a place of strife and difficulty. I, I'm like, I can kind of get the sentiment. It's just that I don't agree that like people should suffer to make art, and I don't think that suffering makes your art better. But I do think that Billy definitely has a knack for taking those things oftentimes from his past. I don't think he writes these things in real time a lot. Sometimes it's things from years, decades ago that he's like drawing from. But he does have a real knack for like channeling that into something like really, really next level. So I'm a little torn if you get my meaning.
I do understand what you're saying, and I do, I get the sentiment behind this comment as well. But I have always been a believer in David Lynch's kind of explanation here where when you're hopelessly depressed, as this guy states, you don't want to make art. That's just it's fighting against the tide. You can access those places in your mind when you are in a better mental state. You can exercise those demons in a different way. And I mean, there's no hard and fast rules for artists. I'm sure everyone's different, but yeah, this romanticizing depression just it doesn't sit right with me as an artist. So I would implore Connor Cribley, if that's really your name, to to reconsider things a little bit. But
Yeah.
that's just me. Um, Next up, we have LAJVS from 5 years ago. Misheard lyrics. I'm Brandon, mad at Justin.
I love that.
Yeah, it's a good one.
I can tell you right now, that's the comment to beat.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know if it's gonna get better than that. I'm not an impartial fucking judge. I'm gonna tell you right there. I don't. A lot of times we end the comment section. You'll be like, "Which one's comment of the day?" And I'm like, "Fuck, who the fuck do I pick out of this sorry lot?" But that right there, that's the one to beat. That's a great
yeah.
comment.
That's a really good one. It makes me like I just like wonder who Brandon is and why he's mad at Justin. It really makes you think.
Yeah. No, it's really, really good. It's excellent.
Yeah, it's just very funny to go around thinking that's the song.
It's Connor. I'm going to be thinking about that for days, weeks. Just to really unlike in my head. Well, I'm Brandon, mad at Justin. I just like it'll be fucking 3 a.m. I'm gonna wake up in a cold sweat. Like
it fucking works.
that is gonna dominate me for the next fucking week of my life. I assure you.
We got just D. Next up, they say Green Day just fucking exists. Live with it. I did.
It's those last two words really that changes a lot.
Yeah.
Because it makes it sound like they're like suffering from
Exactly.
it's like they're afflicted with Green Day.
Yeah, like they're living with a chronic condition or something.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Yeah, this is a chronic illness that they have, and it's like just fucking deal with it. All right,
I know.
did. Suck it up.
I don't know why this is brutalizing them so much.
And why on Armatage Shanks of all songs? Too?
I know.
Like, why would this be like? Oh yeah, I'm gonna get the message out to the people.
Yeah, like Green Day used to be a death sentence, but with modern medicine, you can actually live with it and live a full life.
That's right. Yeah.
Interesting. Next up, we have King Jazz 7708. They say, I used to think this song was called Armatage Sharks for whatever reason.
Nice. That's kind of like my E- Sleepus.
Yes.
Thing
Yeah, a little bit.
On.
Yeah. Armatage Sharks. It just makes me think of a shark coming out of the toilet.
Yeah, which
you can imagine that.
I promise you, like I had a very real, visceral fear of when I was like 8. Like that.
Oh God, yeah.
That would have been what I was like fucking dealing with at that age.
You were a big shark guy.
Yeah.
Zevon Music 7 months ago says, my friend asked me what's wrong because I had been acting sad. I told him Armatage Shanks by Green Day.
Yep.
We've all been there.
Armatage Shanks by Connor. What is it? It's Armatage Shanks by Green Day.
Armatage Shanks by Green Day.
Yep. And then
enough said, buddy.
Their friend undoubtedly responds, just deal with it. They exist. All right.
Live with it. I did.
Yeah.
All right. I mean, it's starting to make sense now, actually. We have Warrior King NL. They say, nice song, though I don't think it's a good opener to Insomniac. 86 or Panic Song would fit better, I think.
Wow, imagine if Panic Song was the opener. That would be bold.
That would be bold. I just don't think those would be better openers.
I do not think so either. Um, but I have to admit, it does make me kind of reflect on like, is it because again we've internalized these albums the way that they are? It feels insane to consider Panic Song as the opening song to Insomniac, but I mean, just I don't know. Just imagine if you had that like 2 minute buildup, before it really explodes. I'm not saying that it would be better, but if for some reason that was like the alternate timeline world we lived in, and instead we're discussing Panic Song, and one of the comments was like, "Man, I think Armatage Shanks would be a better opener." We'd be like, "You're fucking crazy. You're fucking nuts.
Yeah.
You're gonna
Yeah,
get rid of that slow 2 minute buildup into the beginning of Insomniac? Are you fucking crazy, man?"
that's true. I mean, I think it would fundamentally change the record and how
Yes.
people thought of the record.
Yeah,
But I
yes, it
don't think
would.
it would be. I don't think it would be a bad thing. I
No.
think it would be very interesting.
Yeah,
But
it would be a humongous change, to be honest.
yeah,
I think it would be very, very different the way that we consider Insomniac. Just that one change.
yeah. I mean, who knows how things would have branched off from there. Uh, Next up, we have Margarita Huser, 3155. Margarita says, "This shit's going straight onto the funeral playlist."
Nice.
Yeah. After you've lost your battle with the Green Day chronic
That's right. Yeah, you lost
sickness.
your cry. Although, if I was gonna pick a song off of Insomniac to go on the funeral playlist, personally, I would choose 86.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good one. There is no return from 86.
Right? It's I don't know, maybe it's too obvious, but that's what I would go with.
Yeah. I mean there's a few good contenders there. I don't know. Next up, we have Nate Harrell, 1568. Nate says, same concept as Still Breathing, just tackled in a different way.
No.
Not really. I mean, I guess like okay, going through hard times. I don't know. I mean, I can kind of see where they're coming from, but
Yeah.
very different songs.
It's yeah, very. I mean, like, just look at the chorus. My head's above the rain and roses versus
Yeah,
I'm a loner in a catastrophic minds. I mean,
I mean, just it's coming. I mean, they're both about dealing with or being with. I mean, afflicted with some sort of mental strain. I guess. I mean, but just not even close. I mean, I'm sorry, man.
yeah, I don't. I would. This is one of the. I'm like, I would hear you out if you send us an email or
Yes,
whatever. If you expand on this, I will hear you out. I will read it on the fucking podcast. We'll talk about it. Uh,
absolutely.
but
Please,
just
please,
on
Nate.
the face of it, I don't agree, man. I'm sorry.
Yeah, same here. Nate, please expand upon your thoughts. All right, we got a few more quickly. Anglo Mouse 8 says, anyone notice how the drums in the beginning sound a little bit like the intro drums for Down with the Sickness?
Oh my god, I hear it. Yeah.
I haven't
Ooh,
heard that song in a
wah!
long time.
Oh,
I
oh. Get up, come down with the sickness.
I mean maybe because Armatage Shanks came first, right?
Yes. Yes, it did. Yeah.
So maybe
Because
they
Disturbed
had
was
it.
like early 2000s. That would have been like
Yeah, yeah,
2002
yeah.
or something.
Yeah, so maybe Disturbed had some Green Day inspiration there.
Maybe. Maybe.
And the sickness that they're referring to, Connor, is Green Day.
is the chronic Green Day illness. That's right.
Yes.
Yeah, get down
Holy
with the
shit.
sickness. Yeah.
It all makes so much sense now.
I really thought maybe they were gonna say the American Idiot thing, like I said, and I was gonna be like, oh yeah,
Oh
someone
yeah.
else. But no, they're thinking of
Nope.
Disturbed. So
Disturbed. Close enough. All right, we have Only Way is Linux Owl, 13 years ago, says, I do not believe BJ wrote these songs himself. I think he had help either from his wife or somebody else. Look at the lyrics compared to 101 and Kerplunk. Insomniac lyrics are in a different league completely. I think he meant 39 Smooth or 1039 Smooth.
Yeah.
So he does not believe he doesn't believe Billy wrote the lyrics to Insomniac because they're that much of a step up.
Right. Which is funny because it's like, it sounds like he's looking back. It's like, I don't think that Billy could have written this because it's different from what he was writing when he was 17 years old. And it's
Yeah,
like,
I know.
well, if you keep writing, like as you age, I hopefully nobody's writing the same stuff they would have written when they were
Yeah.
17 years old. So
I mean, as you grow and go through life, you have different experiences, which in turn that affect your lyrical output.
yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure how like this person like thinks art is made, or like, like why and how people write things, especially as they go through different experiences. It's a very funny comment. I'm not even upset at it. It's very
Yeah, I
humorous to
know.
me.
It's no, this is the guy who writes about girls and masturbation.
Yeah, and nothing else.
He doesn't write about this
Nothing
kind of
else.
thing.
He was locked in. He was locked in at a young age. And he was never going to do anything else.
I love I think his wife helped him with this one.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's just very funny. I'm sure Adrian could write great songs. I would not I'm sure she could write songs that are great, but it's just like it's just very funny. It's like your parents did your homework for you.
Right. And out of all the people, like, you wouldn't be like, oh, maybe Mike,
I know,
it's
yeah,
like,
I
what,
know.
you're gonna call out Adrian? It's like, maybe, I don't know,
Yeah,
maybe,
not
but
maybe Rob Cavallo?
yeah.
No. Okay, finally, last but not least, we have Meme Team 2692 from 4 years ago. They say, this should be an anthem for SJWs who tell minorities and women how to feel.
I'm like trying to wrap my head around this one. I'm like trying to even realize what they're saying. What the fuck is that comment? Can you read that again?
Yes, this should be an anthem for SJWs who tell minorities and women how to feel.
Wow. Yeah, I don't know what kind of like chronic sickness this person has. I don't think it's Green Day sickness. I think
Yeah, there's
something is.
something very wrong.
Yeah,
Something very wrong here.
they are down with a very different sickness, I
They
think.
are. It just, I mean, this person is disturbed. They are
Yes.
truly
Yeah.
disturbed.
Yeah.
Baffling, honestly. Connor, that brings us to the end point here. Who the heck wins comment of the day?
Connor, I'm not sure I've ever felt more prepared to answer this question.
All
Nobody
right.
dethroned I'm Brandon mad at Justin. Nobody. Nobody reached those
Hell,
fucking Olympian heights. That's the best comment that we've had in months, I think.
hell fucking yeah. I agree. It's simple, uh, but God, it's so fucking funny. LAJVS, congratulations, you have won comment of the day. Please hit us up to claim your prize. We will reward you handsomely, just like we have everyone else. Um, damn, I'm Brandon. I don't know. I mean, could it be Brandon as in like Joe Biden's nickname? And Justin could be like Justin Trudeau,
Oh
Prime
my
Minister of Canada.
Yeah, no, I think that's what the last commenter is probably.
I
We're just
absolutely
putting the
that's
pieces together
That's
now.
what
Yeah.
meme team thought. Yeah, that makes
Yes.
total sense.
Yeah, that might be
Um,
it.
Connor, any final thoughts on anything we covered this episode before we wrap it up?
Yeah, yeah. This is like a bigger, more intimidating start to the record than I think I was ready. I felt like I kind of strolled into this thinking like, let's talk about Armatage Shanks, a
Yeah,
song that's just about feeling lost and angry, and like, let's just, what else is there, and as we talked about, the thing I'm really kind of like rubbing up against and trying to figure out is like, man, what is it that gets us here, and we've already talked about like the whole the narrative, the story of Dookie's impact, and how that affects a lot of what Green Day is going through and what they're writing about on Insomniac. And I think that's all totally true, and there are going to be points in which we discuss that with a lot more thoroughness as we go through the record. But talking about Armatage Shanks really feels like there's something more to it than just that. Like that
Yeah.
doesn't feel like the answer. And I'm ending this discussion with you a lot more intrigued and a lot more unsure about like what we're going to uncover as we discuss Insomniac song by song, because I think it kind of made me realize just how much I'm not sure about when it
Yeah.
comes to this record.
Yeah, no, I think this one will be a really good one to dig into and analyze and kind of hash out together. I'm very excited to get into all that. Uh, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Um, Next week we will be talking about Brat. This is exciting. And we're not the Charlie XCX album,
That's right.
the original Brat.
Even though we are also going into the summer, so we sort of will
It
be
is
having a Brat summer next episode.
this. Yes, we're going to be having a different kind of Brat summer this year. So
Yeah.
get ready for that, folks. Um, if you like what you have heard, please head on over to Apple Podcasts. Leave us a 5-star rating and a glowing review. It's been a while. Please help us out. We need you. Um, if you want, you can also follow us on anti-social media at Green Dudes Pod on both Twitter and Instagram. Um, as well as tell us your experience with Insomniac or with Armatage Shanks. Email us at greendudespod@gmail.com. We would love to hear your story. And most importantly, folks, until next time,
Stay
stay
punk.
punk. Yeah, baby. All right, Green Dudes out.